friends, my name is Ali. I am the owner and maker behind Ali Mackenzie Crafts, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it has been a hot minute since the last time I actually sat down to record intentional content. And I'm going to be honest with you, I really miss YouTube. I miss this community. This was such a big goal for me to do this year and is so important to me. And I found that with my ADHD and just general life stuff that it fell to the wayside for the last month and a half. And I realized that using my phone to record video was becoming very cumbersome for me. My videos were getting kind of buried between pictures of my son, pictures of the cats, activities we're doing, things like that. And I did not have a good organization process down pat, not to mention that the focus often was in and out and I'd have to go through and manually adjust focus before uploading to my computer and into my video editing program. And it was just creating roadblocks for me that I honestly don't have time to deal with. So I decided to make a significant investment in my business, which I have been considering for a very long time. I told myself that I wouldn't make this investment until I hit a couple of goals, but it just felt like I will not reach those goals if I didn't make the choice now. So I've invested. I'm using a new camera. I invested in the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I already had the DJI mics and I was using a gimbal with my phone. So I'm aware and have already been using the products from them. So it felt like the right move to just make this investment in my business so that I can continue to create content and I don't lose something that I'm really loving, because YouTube has become something that has been so fun for me. I love recording content. I don't love being on camera. I'm an introvert, so I don't love putting myself out there, my face out there as much, but I love having a community. I love being involved with the crochet community in a different format than I can on Instagram, and just showing off things from my friends' eyes that I've purchased, patterns that my friends have designed, things like that. I love having that opportunity to share in a long form content space. So I decided to make the investment. I'm very happy that I did. We'll see. Hopefully this video looks great. I am not looking forward to seeing myself in 4K, but it's one of those things where I just need to get over it and be here and be present with you all. And this is who I am, and that's okay. And I'm just really excited to get back to YouTube. I have, three market vlogs that I am going to go back, go through the phone camera footage, do all of the work that I need to do. It's going to be hours of work just to sort through all of that on my phone and then upload it to the computer. And then it's going to be another 20 to 30 hours to edit all of those videos. But I do have a major goal. I wanted to get this recorded and out there so that I could kind of explain a little bit of where I've been and what's been going on with me. But I am looking forward to returning to this space and doing so in a more regular cadence. Not only was the kind of organization, ADHD video aspect of this a factor in why I've kind of lost a bit of presence on here, but it was also some other things. Just I had my Comic-Con, which is one of the videos that I will be editing, and that took a lot of work. And it was a 2-day event. It was my first one ever. So it was a lot of work and pressure and stress. And that was following a market I had prior to that. And then I went away with my family for a week to Maine. So it was just kind of a cascading effect of things going on. And I had to organize and prioritize based on what I had directly in front of me. I also moved into a new shop space. I'll talk about that a little bit in a moment, but I just had some other things that I really needed to focus on and prioritize in the immediate that kept me from doing the extra hours of work that I needed to do for YouTube content and that I will now make time for. And then on top of that, I found myself falling into a bit of the comparison trap. So I posted actually on Instagram a set of slides talking about this yesterday, and people are really resonating with it. So I thought maybe I'd take it to long form a little bit more. But I have talked about it before. I have a young toddler. I do not have, other than my partner, I do not have any help. We don't have assistant. So we are pretty alone in our childcare. You know, the village, we look for the village and it's not here. The most village I have are my close friends, and they are so essential and so important to me, but they are not able to help with that childcare aspect. So I am wholly invested in my son and raising him. And so that means that my time and the time I have available every day is different than some others have. Even other parents who have that support system, who are able to have their children at their parents' house a couple days a week, or they can spend a weekend there or a night overnight at grandma and grandpa's. We've never had that opportunity. So I had to be clear with myself and really accept that my situation is different than others, and I am working on ensuring that I don't fall into that comparison trap as much as I have been, because I am an overachieving type A perfectionist personality. I have been since I was very young, and so it's very hard for me to feel like I'm not keeping up. I have had a pattern that I've wanted to design for over a year and I haven't done it. I have had to back away from a couple of markets because I simply don't have the time to do as many markets as I would like. I would love to take on more tech editing clients, but honestly, I have not been promoting myself for that because the amount of clients I have right now is enough for me with the amount of time I have on top of all of the other responsibilities I have. I did leave the metaphysics shop I was in. I was not selling well there. I was there for almost a year, and honestly, I think I made less than $100 in a year there. And I moved into a new space, so I did decide to only do one shop for now, so I'm proud of myself for that. I moved into a new space and I've honestly already done a lot more in sales there than I did in a year at the other shop. So I'm glad I made that decision, but it does mean I have to keep up my stock there a lot. So my time just isn't what I know it will be in the future. And that's fine. I love being a mom. I love raising my son, and I love taking him to all of his activities and seeing him grow and explore and learn the world. But that side of me is not the side that I am putting forward on my crochet account. And so it's always this conflicting thing internally of I'm not doing enough, I'm not producing enough. You know, you post something that's kind of more simplistic and you get barely any interaction on it because people are hard to impress on social media. And I just found myself kind of falling towards burnout because I was trying to keep up, and that included trying to also edit YouTube videos when I was in the midst of so many other things at one time. And so what I'm finding is that I just need to find my balance, figure out my priorities. I mean, I already knew them intrinsically, like what matters to me the most absolutely is my son and my family, but my priorities for my business were a little more scattered, and I was trying to have my hand in too many pots. The eye drop, that really sent me over the edge of available time, because making eyes, if you've never done it and never made them in bulk, you're not fully aware of just how long it takes. So that really was another factor that kind of, I just put a little too much on my plate in trying to keep up with everyone and saying yes to many pattern tests. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, but if you want to check out my thoughts on this, I did again post kind of a little slide set on Instagram, and I talked about the things that I'm doing to try to combat the burnout and the comparison trap. So on the Instagram post, I shared 5 things that I am doing, and I wanted to share them here today because maybe it'll help someone else. Anytime I share something, I like to share a lot of kind of slides on Instagram with hopefully uplifting information and kind of just encouraging words, because I feel like often I've found solace in things like that, and I really want to be that for someone else. So if this video helps even one person feel seen and it's not just a rambling mess that you've already clicked off of, I hope this really helps someone. So the first thing that I posted, if you see me looking down, I just want to review my notes as I go, but the first thing that I talked about that I am doing to combat this cycle is reminding myself daily that anything worth doing and anything worth building, it takes time. So I said in the post that the old adage, Rome wasn't built in a day, truly does ring as kind of the representation of this idea, because while I am building a business and while I am trying to help it grow, I do think that for me and where I am in life, it's going to be a slow process. And I have to accept that, because as much as my internal voice tells me that I need to be doing it all right now, immediately, or it's not worth my time at all to even try, it's not true. I need to just continue steady on. Every small step, every accomplishment deserves celebration, and even the smallest steps forward are truly steps forward. So it doesn't matter if I've gone a week and I've only accomplished one thing for my business. That's one thing that I hadn't accomplished the week before. And so I am trying to focus on those small wins, those small victories, as I continue this process, in order to ensure that I don't lose sight of the fact that I'm doing the thing. I'm building this business, and it's going to take time. So I try to remind myself that every accomplishment deserves some cheers and excitement, and I want to start writing those down. I'd like to start kind of a gratitude type journey where I write down what I've accomplished that week, so that I can see kind of that visible representation that I am continuing to build this business and move it forward. And this isn't related, I didn't put this in the slides, but kind of my mind always goes to this, and I've said it to many of my friends as well, is the idea that anything worth learning takes time. Literally, if everything in our lives was easy and came to us naturally and was just, we could get it on the first try, life would be so incredibly boring. And so the growing pains and all of the parts of this business that aren't my favorite, like the taxes that I am currently finishing up because we did an extension and that's coming up due next week. All of those little things that are part of the learning process, and like developing entire systems to keep track of things, etc. Life would be boring if I just had all of that hand delivered to me, or already knew it intrinsically and I didn't even have to learn it. So I'm trying to also take gratitude in the uncomfortableness, because it is all part of the process. And then the second thing that I talked about was that I am working to spend my time more intentionally rather than trying to do it all. So right now that means that I probably will not do another eye drop, at least not anything of significance, for some time, because they really do. I can only work on them at night. Resin is not something that is safe to use around children or pets, so I work on it in my garage. My son needs to be asleep. I want him to be distant from it. I have my PPE on. I'm out in the garage working safely and away from everyone, and I can only do that at night. So I have very few hours that I can accomplish creating eyes, and that is also my crochet time, because I am with my kiddo all day. He does not let me crochet. So other than if he naps, that I pretty much only have nighttime to crochet and work on products for my markets and my store. So I'm trying to be more intentional. I need to learn to say no more often, especially also to things like my friends' pattern tests, things like that, where it's things that I love doing so much, but I only have so much time. So I really need to be more intentional, because while I love helping my friends and helping with their pattern tests, I am helping them move their business forward when I do that, but it could be at the detriment to my business if I have things that need to take priority that I am putting on the back burner for those tests. So things like that, where I need to start putting myself and my business first, as hard as that is for me. I am a helper at heart, so it is not natural for me to not just say yes to everyone, to everything that people are requesting of me, and not want to help everyone without feeling some amount of guilt for saying no, or backing away from opportunities that I could add to my business, because I truly do not have time to add anything else on top of what I already have set as goals, which include YouTube, markets, and my tech editing business. So I'm just working really hard to ensure that I am taking on tasks with some intentionality. And I also am working to quell that inner voice that tells me that if I am not visibly producing something that others can view and review, that I'm not successful, because there is so much that goes into a business on the back end, so much admin work, so many hours spent doing things, even like editing videos where you get to see the final result, but you don't get to see that rough journey it took to get there. So there are a lot of things where I can't show the result of my work, or it's not me producing a massive dragon or some crochet pattern. It's the hard labor of running a business. And this is where a hobby and business differentiate, because all of that admin work and all of those components are truly so essential to keeping a business and making it a success, and they can't fall to the wayside. So I'm just trying to tell myself that even if I'm not constantly producing in a manner that others can see, again, those small steps forward are the work. And that's what's getting me to everything I'm dreaming about for this business. This next one is one that I really, really struggle with. And again, so much of running this business is harkening back to who I've been since I was a child, and just it's really showing me some of the weaknesses that I need to continue to work on. And one of them is I'm repeating to myself that rest is productive. I have always been bad at taking breaks. Again, I'm workaholic, and I love this business. I love crochet. I love interacting with this community on Instagram and YouTube and at markets and in my storefront where I have products. Like, just seeing all of those things come together for my business make me want to work harder and continue working and pushing. But I will, and I always do, at every job I've always done this, I will hit a wall, and I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose everything I've built here because I have lost my passion because I pushed too hard. So I need to be more intentional about building in dedicated breaks and accepting that I will not always accomplish everything that I hope to in the span of a week or a couple weeks or a month, and that some things just simply are going to have to take more time. And that just because I took breaks does not mean that I am not still a productive, successful human. So I told this story in the slide on Instagram that I remember distinctly many times throughout my life that as a gamer, so I've played many video games, and I remember times where I would be playing a boss battle over and over and over again, and I couldn't beat it. I could not figure out what to do. I was getting frustrated. I would get angry at my video game. I would be seething, and I would put it down, walk away, usually overnight. I would come back to it the next day and beat that boss on the first time or even the second time after picking it up again. And I just remember distinctly thinking to myself, like, why did I think this was so hard? And that reminds me, that just really resonates, that idea really resonates with me, with the idea of taking rest and taking our breaks, because we need breaks for our brain to process things. We need breaks for our brain to work through things on kind of that subconscious level. And so taking rest, taking breaks, taking time away actually will make us more productive. It will keep our creativity going. It is just something that I have seen and practiced, not just in video games, but other walks and other places of life. And so I really believe that passionately, that I need to be more intentional about taking my breaks. And I think the same for everyone out there watching this, like, take your breaks, because you don't want to hit a wall. You don't want to burn out and not even want to look at a crochet hook anymore, because if you're watching or whatever your art is, not look at a paintbrush, a pen, your iPad, whatever it is you do that gives you passion, especially when you turn it into a business, you want to be able to continue that love and that passion. And so please take your breaks. Rest is productive. Rest is good. And you are not lazy for taking a break. I actually have to get to Pilates. I have been talking a lot longer than I anticipated, but I'm just gonna go through the last two very quickly. The fourth thing that I shared was that I'm reminding myself regularly that I am enough. I fully believe in the power of affirmations and positive self-talk, and I have been a negative self-talker my entire life. And it is something that I am working to actively change, because I know that the way we talk to ourselves shapes the way we think about ourselves. It changes our brain chemistry. Honestly, after my son was born, I found that I was already curbing how I talk I no longer say that I am stupid in front of him. I do not insult my body or anything about my intelligence or anything around him, because I do not want him to develop that negative self-talk. I work with him on affirmations, and I work very hard to make sure that he has a positive view of who he is. And so I'm trying to instill that in myself as well through that process. It's like in helping him grow, I am also healing that inner child of my own, and that's been really important for me. And then the fifth one is that I have been acknowledging that is what is meant for me will come to me. And I really believe that the things that I'm going to accomplish in this life, they're not just going to disappear because I am taking the time to raise my son, because I'm taking the time to take my time. Like, our society is so go, 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 and I've put that pressure on myself so frequently in life that I just need to continue to remind myself that everything that I have in my future is waiting for me, and that all of these small steps forward have been such an essential part of that process and will continue to be. And so I just want to instill that in you as well. I think burnout really does create a roadblock in our lives, so the more we can open up those roadways and just be gentle and kind to ourselves, the better it'll be. But I, of course, am very time blind, which is my number one ADHD issue, and I am going to be late to my Pilates if I do not sign off now. So if this resonated with you, please, if you could give me a like or a follow, if you could leave me a comment. I really love interacting in my comments across all of my platforms. It helps me feel that sense of community that I really enjoy. That's really my favorite part of any of these platforms, is finding others and talking to you all about your journeys. So if you could give me a comment down below on your thoughts on this video, hopefully it was able to give you some tips to help if you're facing the same struggles I am right now. But until the next video, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I can't wait to talk to you again in the future. Bye.